What's up guys, Dave with Miracle Canine Training. We are out here with Maple again. Yesterday we filmed a video with Maple working on downs with the hip swing. We talked about how we enforce that hip swing utilizing the food, utilizing the leash, and utilizing kind of a hand cue to get her into that. So at this point, we have all of her basic leash communication established. So we know we can get her into a sit with the leash. We know we can get her onto a bed. We know we can get her coming to us into the heel position, into downs, all of that good stuff, all non-verbally, right? So I know that I can move this dog and I could give leash pressure up. This dog's gonna get into a sit, give leash pressure down, get him into a down, right? So the next step here is starting to pair in our verbal cues into this to get the dog understanding that word predicts behavior. Now, we wait much longer than a lot of people do before we start saying anything to the dog, aside from marking behaviors with good and stuff like that, because I wanna know that I could smoothly get my dog into positions before I add a word to it, because if not, you're just gonna be giving commands, having sloppy behaviors follow them, and you're gonna be teaching a really sloppy association of that word to the behavior, right? So we're working downstairs today. We have some additional distractions going on. So we have 6 dogs out right now in the pens, 2, 2, and 2. Now, we do this a lot with the board and trains that are working here. We'll work them upstairs first in some of the early stages because it's minimal distractions, it's a small room, there's not a lot going on, and then we'll bring them down into the main area here, where if you look around, it's huge, there's a lot of space, there's a lot of things for the dog to get distracted by. You got dogs playing around in the pens, screwing off and stuff like that. So what we're gonna do, like I said, is we're gonna add the verbal cues into this. We're gonna start to teach this dog these commands a little bit more clearly here, and we'll kind of show you the process for that. So let's get started. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our commands one by one here and make sure that we're pairing each one in individually and getting them remotely smooth. We'll be working through this process a little bit quicker than we normally would, just to show you guys how we go about doing this. So a couple key steps here. One, when we're adding a cue into a behavior, the cue needs to come before the action. So you're gonna notice before I do anything with the leash or the food or anything, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say whatever word it is that I want associated with that behavior. So we're gonna start with sits here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say sit. I'm gonna wait a couple of seconds to give the dog an opportunity to respond to that cue. Then I'm gonna use my help, in this case the leash, good, to get the dog into the position. Once the dog is in the position, I'll mark with good, I'll reward, okay, then I'll clearly release out of that position. So I'm gonna do that a few times. Sit, leash, good, reward. Okay, release. Sit, good. And what we're doing is we're giving the dog an opportunity with that gap between, okay, between the cue as well as the behavior here to respond to it on their own, right? That is the goal with any sort of verbal commands we're giving. Now we're not gonna repeat it. I have no expectation of the dog responding initially to that cue here, but I do wanna start to see as we go along here, the dog starts to make that connection in their head of what that cue means, right? So have plenty of space in between. Take your time with these steps. Again, sit, good. The second the dog gets in a position, identify immediately with your good mark. Reward your food after your good mark. The good is a cue as well here. It's a cue for reward is coming. Okay, and then clearly release out of the position, right? So we'll do a couple more of these. Sit, good. Quick on that good mark, then get your food and reward. Okay. Again, making sure there's space between all of this stuff. Sit, leash help, good. Now, if you've seen some of our other videos, you'll know that the way we teach the leash, okay, is making sure that they don't understand direction. So I want up to be sit. Obviously, I want down to be getting into that down position, sideways to be getting on to something or towards me. Sit, good. Capturing right away with your good mark. Think of your good mark like taking a picture here, right? So I'm snapshotting the behavior the second the dog gets into it so that I can deliver that reward. Okay, sit, good. Marking, rewarding, okay. All right, so we're gonna move on to our next command here. We're gonna be utilizing the bed for this. So in this case, same concept, we're just changing the word and we're using a different direction on the leash to give that help if needed. So in this case, it's gonna be a straight line in the direction of the bed to communicate that. So I'm gonna walk up, stop about 2 feet from the bed, good. And then as soon as 4 paws get on that bed, I'm identifying with my good mark, providing my food, making sure the dog continues to stay stable, okay, and then releasing off. Bed, good. Okay. Bed, now the way we use our good marker, good. It's a stability marker, so when I say good, this dog needs to maintain whatever position I am rewarding for until it hears, okay, that release to get off. Bed, good. Excellent. Okay, we'll do one more. Bed, good. Okay. Now, a lot of times we've done this so much non-verbally and patterning things like us being next to the bed or us standing in front of the dog or whatever it may be, that the dog is already pretty much offering these behaviors on their own. So by adding the cue in, really we're just snapping something right before the command, so we're making that connection, right? So we're gonna add our next command here, which is gonna be our recall. So with this one, same concept, I'm gonna walk around here, try to lose the dog, create space, come. Good. When the dog gets next to me, mark with good, reward. Okay. Come. Good. Now with the come command, with the bed command, we don't expect an auto sit or an auto down or anything like that. Okay, those are things we'll layer in later, but the core foundations of this is with bed, obviously 4 paws on the bed, come. With the recall, good, just being next to me in my bubble. Okay, come. Good. And a lot of times when you're doing this, if you have good engagement from the dog for the food, they'll typically just follow you around. So you'll notice, okay, come. Good. I create space as quick as I can so that I can pattern in that word before the dog gets to me. Okay, come. Good. Okay, come. Good. We'll do one more of those. Okay, come. Good. Okay, all right, and last what we're gonna do is our downs here. So same concept. Down, give your word. Add your leash help, in this case in the direction of down. And then with this, we're gonna take good, what we learned yesterday, and we're gonna use our hip swing. Okay, down, again, I'm not repeating the command, I'm simply using my help at that point. Downs tend to be the most challenging one of all of them here, so just holding steady pressure, good. And the second those elbows hit the ground and the hips swing to the side, I'll reward. Okay. Now notice neutral posture here. Down, giving my command, no additional help. From there, I'll apply my help. Good. And then once the dog stabilizes into the down, I'll mark and reward. If they get up, I'll get them back in, because again, good means they need to maintain position. Okay. Then I'll make them wait for that release. Again, no additional verbal cues there. We're just giving the cue at the beginning of the command. Down. Good. Again, no additional command, just helping straight back down, making them wait for the release. Okay. Down. Doing my hip swing. Good. Okay. Down. Good. Okay. Down. Doing my hip swing again. No additional cue, just help with the leash. And you could tell the down is going to be one that this dog needs a little bit of additional help with still. This is where you'll really start to notice, good, any holes in the dog's understanding of things. Okay, when you're starting to add that cue, and if you're really struggling in getting the dog in smoothly, down, you may want to take a step back and continue working it with just the leash before you go to add that verbal command in. This dog's kind of right on the fence where we could go either way. Good. She's understanding it fairly quickly, but still needs a little bit, okay, of additional help with those. Down. Good. Okay. Down. You can see the gears turning, her trying to figure it out. Good. Okay. Down. Good. Now on the plus side, the hip swing looks very good. The thing we worked on the other day. Okay. Down. Again, holding pressure steady. Same deal, maintaining pressure. Good. Marking and rewarding. Okay, we'll do 2 more of these. Down. Good. Okay. Down. Good. Okay. Very good. Okay, so again, just noticing some holes in the training, need a little bit more work with the downs, but overall very good and did really great with the other commands and adding those cues into it. So again, this is the next progression of things and layering in our communication little by little. We don't add our cues in too quick. We make sure everything is taught very clearly with the leash first, with motivation. Then we add those cues in and continue proofing things. And we layer in like the e-collar and stuff, right? And from there, what you could start doing is once you have them all established individually, you could start doing things like going over to the bed. Bed. Good, getting the dog into position, right? Rewarding for the bed command first. Then, sit. You could start layering in your secondary commands, right? So if you want to do, good, sits on the beds, you could do that. Then, if you really wanted to get wild, down. You could start layering in even more commands into that. Again, waiting for the hip swing every single time. Good, and rewarding for that. Okay, and this is how you ultimately start to combine things. Then you could even do like a recall off of the bed and stuff like that, but we pair this stuff in little by little, piece by piece, until each one is nice and fluent and good first, right? So these are a lot of the early teaching stages. They're the slow, tedious repetitions that we do with all of these dogs in order to get things as fluent and as smooth as possible to make sure our communication is very, very crystal clear. So, hope this video helps. Hope it answers some questions you guys may have on why we wait so long to add words into certain things, how to add those cues in, what cues are, things like that. As always, if you guys have any questions, let us know. If not, we'll see you guys tomorrow.